guys, I'm Alicia Davis.
And I'm Trio Springer, and this podcast is a whole bunch of real life. Yep, life as a woman and a mom can be hard sometimes. We totally get it.
We've learned that discovering our unique talents and remembering our potential gives us the ability to tap into our own power, and it's amazing. Plus, it's always better to journey through life with a sis, right?
Right. Sis, you have more power and potential than you realize.
We see you and we believe in you. You've got this, sis. Good morning, sis. It's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday, not Tuesday. Yay.
We made it through Tuesday. It's officially Wednesday.
Yes, I think I'm trying to prolong my week and just extend it another day.
You're just trying to suck all of the good stuff out of the week and make it longer.
Right. I think Tuesday seemed like a good day, so I was thinking, let's live it again.
You can't, Trio.
It's
We're on
all
to the next.
good. Yes. Welcome, sis. We're so glad that you're with us today, and we have a fun podcast that we want to share with you today. Alicia and I were just recently together, and we'll be together again here in the next few days, where we're actually face to face. But she made a comment to me when we were together last, and she's like, Trio, everything we do together is such an adventure. And so it kind of prompted us and our thoughts to do a podcast today on adventure. And so that's where we're going to jump off, is adventure. And we're going to touch on some different types of adventures. So Alicia, what's our first one we want to focus on?
Oh. That's a tough question, actually. I'm not sure. But when we talk about adventures too, my mind goes a couple different places. The first place it goes is the fun, new, crazy adventures that we can have. And the other place my mind goes to is the adventures that may not seem quite so glamorous, but are new and different things.
Yeah, so I have a thought that came to mind with that one.
What?
The not glamorous for sure, but something that was kind of necessary and essential for me to learn, because when we moved into our new house like 12, 13 years ago, my husband was working at his new job right out of his PhD, and he was gone quite a lot. And I had the two young boys, and oftentimes Paul would mow on the weekend. Well, the grass got really healthy, and sometimes once a week mowing wasn't cutting it.
Ooh.
Yeah. Do you like that pun right there too? So anyway, I hadn't mowed before with a push mower. I had mowed with I call it a driving mower, but a riding mower, I guess. And so that was going to be something new for me to learn. And I wanted to help him out so that we could spend more time as a family. And so I was kind of scared to use the push mower.
Yeah.
Not only that, but he purposefully, when we bought a mower, did not get a self-propelling mower.
No.
He's like, well, I'm going to be the one mowing the lawn, so I want to make sure I'm getting a workout. And when the boys learn to mow, I want them to like really learn to mow. It was not a self-propelled mower.
Boo.
Guess who ended up mowing almost all the time? Me.
Oh no.
So once I got over my fear of like handling the lawnmower, it just became a chore. But it was really scary before I actually did it.
And it's funny because it reminds me that adventures, like mowing the lawn, sometimes are ones that we choose, and sometimes they're ones that we don't. And those, there are adventures of both kinds, and I think we need to be looking out for them, because most of the time, the ones that we don't choose, we don't see as adventures. We see them as tasks or chores, but they can be adventures if we have the right outlook on them.
Okay, well, what adventure do you have that
And
relates?
it's funny because I think both of us in our first adventures, they could seem more like yours, but mine
Yeah.
was it had to do with my kitchen sink because our faucet was not working well, and I knew I wanted a new one. My husband was working a lot, and I didn't want to wait for him to put in
Look
a new
at
faucet.
you.
That's not my thing. Like being handy at home and fixing things, that's not my gift. And normally I just say, "Hey, Jacob, can you help with this? Or we need to change the filters or this or that." He's like, "Yeah, let's do it." But I didn't want to wait for the kitchen faucet. So I started taking it out myself. And yeah, it was an adventure because I didn't have quite the right tools for it. And so, you have to unscrew the nut that's
Yeah.
attaching it to the countertop, and
Yeah.
that proved to be the most difficult part for me. And I tried all the tools that we had, and nothing was working, and it was just
Oh my word.
anyway, like a full day after I tried working on this, I actually got the nut loose, got the old one out, and then when I started to put the new one in, I went, "Oh my gosh, how am I gonna get tight enough? The nut on the bottom, how am I gonna get it tight enough to hold in the new faucet?" Like, there's no way because it was so hard to get it off. Well, come to find out, when you get a new faucet, there's this nice little plastic tool that they give you that slides right over the nut, and you can tighten it beautifully. And I thought, why do they not give it to you? Or why didn't I check the box before I took the old one out? And it was so funny because after I got the old nut out, I looked at that thing and like I had conquered an army. I was like, "Yes, I got this. This is mine." And it's this tiny little, not even 1-inch nut. And I actually saved it. It's on the dresser in my
Oh,
bedroom
good.
because I was like, I can do hard things. I can
You
do
got to
this. This is
frame
good.
that.
What?
You got to frame it.
I should, huh? But that was an
Yeah.
adventure. Like that was learning. That was an adventure for me. And
Alicia, the warrior woman,
oh
she
yeah.
conquered the sink and the nut. No, I
Yeah.
love this though, because it's the atypical adventure
Yep.
that we experience in our life. And I tend to think of adventure for myself as doing something I've never done before.
Yeah.
And it's going to look all sorts of different ways at all sorts of different times in our life. I mean, that's an adventure was us owning our first home and having a neighbor across the street who by spring could have her lawn as green as green as green could be. And then our lawn was like dry and yellowy. And I'm like, Paul, how does she do that? And so we talked to her and we found out her secrets. And now we can get our lawn nice and green.
It is. I think I agree with you. All the new stuff is an adventure. In fact, you had a fabulous quote kind of
Yeah.
going along with this. Can you read that?
Yes. It's by Eleanor Roosevelt. And she says, the purpose of life, after all, is to live it, to taste experience to the utmost, to reach out eagerly and without fear for a newer and richer experience. I like that. And without fear for a newer, richer experience.
I think the without fear part is the key because most new things do involve fear. Whether it's a
Yeah,
teaspoon of it or a cup of it, we're gonna
it's
be afraid.
true. We are. And so we've talked about some things that you and I both were afraid to do.
Mhm.
And that's going to be the common theme as we continue to talk
Yeah.
about this. For me, sorry guys, morning voice, but for me, any new thing causes me some magnitude of fear. And I think that's most likely true for anybody. It doesn't mean that it always shows.
Right.
I mean, you could look at somebody and think, oh my goodness, they are the most confident person. And I I've had people tell me that before, and I'm like, oh no, I just am like in my mind being brave, but inside I'm really like afraid and falling apart a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and
And it's okay.
if all of us are gonna feel that fear, it's not so much feeling the fear that's the problem. It's what are we going to do when we feel that? How are we gonna
Yeah.
respond? And
Yeah.
being courageous is deciding to feel the fear and to move forward anyway.
Totally.
And if the fear is what holds you back and prevents you from doing something new, I think that's when I have to take a step back and go, okay, hold on. Why, what's really causing me to not move forward and to not try this new thing? And how can I move forward through the fear anyway?
I love that.
Um,
So have you discovered anything about like working through the fear? Is there a
yeah,
time that it gets easier?
it gets easier after you just take the first few steps.
Yeah.
Just moving into it makes it
Right.
easier, which sounds really funny because taking those first few steps that's the most difficult. But once you can actually just get started, it's not that bad. So we're here visiting our family in Utah for a few more days, and my boys are going to be, well, all of us are going to be going to a theme park called Lagoon. And my second son has never been on a roller coaster. And he's afraid. He's totally scared. But that's like the best adventure, right? Going on roller coasters and screaming
Yeah.
and doing it with friends and cousins. And I've noticed that the more my cousins talk it up, and they're like, yeah, this is so fun. It's going to be awesome. And, this one is the best one. He's decided to try it and to move forward.
Yeah.
He's like, this is the one I want to do first because they said it was a really good one. So I think having people behind you supporting you in that
Mhm.
scary adventure, like that helps too.
Totally. You have to have people that you love and trust, and, that's what I love about your family adventure that's gonna happen later today, and we had a similar thing happen a few years ago where we went to Disney World for the first time, and we have a son who went to a theme park, a smaller one, close to where we live, and he went probably like a year or 2 before we decided to take the trip to Disney
Mhm.
World, and he absolutely hated the roller coasters,
Oh, no.
and I love him to pieces, but we spent, like, most of the day, at the little kiddie rides, and that's
Mm.
okay. So, when we decided that we were going to go to Disney World as a family, he was a little bit older, and we just said, "Can we have a family rule that we all go together on the rides at least once, where we
Ooh,
try them. And it's okay if you don't want to go again, but it's Disney World. Like,
yeah,
we don't know how often or if we're taking you back. Like,
right.
this may be a one time thing. So, can we just commit to each other that we're going to give it a try? Like, every single one. And he even went on the Tower of Terror.
Oh, wow.
I know. I stayed off with the youngest, but this one did go, and I was like, "Oh my word." So, yeah, overcoming that is gonna be huge today, and it's gonna be so fun.
Yeah. I'm
The
excited to see his reaction
anticipation.
too. Because once he's in it, he's gonna love it. He'll ask to go on more. I guess
Yeah,
that's another point too about adventures. Once you take one adventure, kind of slingshots you into other ones.
right.
You wanna do more and accomplish more and try more new things.
'Kay, I have to say I am not a traveler.
What?
That's not something that by nature I, like, am like, "Hey, sign me up." I am more of a homebody,
What?
and uh-huh. And I love being home, which is really funny because, okay, my husband's take on this, because we were in a different house as of like 4 years ago, and I was feeling scrunched in it, and my husband wasn't, because he's at
Mm,
work all the time. And he's like, "Well, if we just stay in this house, we're gonna have it paid off really soon, blah, 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 blah." And I'm like, okay, but that's not going to work. Like, I want a house in which we can all breathe.
Yeah.
The kids are getting bigger. We need a little bit more space. And that just ruined the plans of paying off a house, right? And I said, honey, I know that you travel a lot and you love it, but I'm a homebody and I'd like to have a place that I'm comfortable being with everybody. And so, anyway, it's just really funny how we're all different. And I will travel with him, but I'm not the one like instigating it.
Right.
Usually, I've instigated it with you.
Yeah. Well,
But
that's why when you said you don't travel, I'm like, what are you talking about? That's all we do together. I get it.
But I'm scared to death though. Like when I first traveled, I think I was to St. Louis, Missouri, all by myself. I really didn't want to go.
Yeah.
Usually Paul is the one like checking the airport, whatever's. And you get used to that. You get used to depending on somebody. So then when you are put in a situation in which you're on your own,
yeah,
it does get to be scary again. And I was totally capable of traveling like by myself before, and then being married and like having a husband that loves to travel and will just plan it all out. I'm like, oh, but you and I have had some adventures.
Oh yeah, we've had several. Well, and the funny thing is about the travel is that like we live 3 states away, so the only way we're gonna get together is if we travel. So
that's true.
I think I mean some of the adventures that we've had are ones that were planned for us, and some are ones that we've chosen. And I think one of the funnest adventures that our families have had together was cruising together. And that was an intentional adventure. We both had been on a cruise together, like the four of us, the couples, but we wanted to do it with our families. And so we booked it together. We made sure that all of the arrangements are made and planned this super fun adventure for our kids. And I think in the process of doing that and going out on the ship and doing excursions together, I think we got addicted to traveling with your family and being with your family trio.
Yes, we did too. We love traveling with you guys. It makes it a whole, like it takes it up a whole another level of fun.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
it was great.
I want to chat real quick about another type of adventure that I don't think people would label as an adventure.
Okay.
But I think doing service for other people is also another type of adventure with different rewards. We've got in Houston, where we live, there is a food bank. It's just Houston Food Bank is what it's called. And at various times in the last few years, my kids have participated in the new adventure, which is slightly scary because it's brand new, of going there, helping sort through food or package it so that it can be delivered to people in need around the city. And at first, of course, my kids, I don't want to go. I don't know what it's gonna be like. I don't have any friends who are going, and they kind of back away from that new experience and that new adventure. But after they go and they work there and we're there together and we're having fun, they walk away and they're like, oh yeah, that was really fun. We should do that again sometime. And so I think the adventure of stepping out of your comfort zone to help other people in a variety of ways, that's a completely different kind of adventure. And I think if we approach those service opportunities as adventures with our kids, they're more likely to grasp onto them rather than we're going to go do work for other people. Like we could call it that. Right. But labeling it as an adventure, because it is.
Yeah.
It spins it. It puts it on a different level. I like that a lot.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about another one, an adventure in our work and our occupations. And this one's really important to me because I'm the type of personality who if I'm with something that's the same for a long time, I tend to get bored.
Yeah.
And so when I was trying to figure out what I really wanted to study, nursing seemed to be a good fit because there's so many different avenues of nursing that one can take, and you're not ever stuck in a unit longer than you need to be. But having said that, there are so many opportunities to do different types of nursing. But looking past the nursing, just in an occupation or in your job, sometimes we tend to get comfortable there.
Mm.
Even if it's a job that we hate or that we don't feel is serving us or helping us to gain value in our life, if it's comfortable, we stay.
Yeah.
And I kind of had an experience like this with one of my jobs, and I was there a year and a half, and it was so hard to leave.
Yeah.
And it was the hardest thing, one of the hardest jobs I've ever done. But it's also scary to start something new and to look for a new position that might be more rewarding and fulfilling because you don't want to leave what's comfortable.
Right.
And so that is another adventure. And it's also an adventure for our kids.
Yeah.
My one son, he is 13, and here in Nebraska, they can start detasseling the corn
Oh, yeah.
at 13. And so today was his very first day on the job. And he was up at 4 in the morning
Oh.
and ready to go. And we left at 5 in the morning, and he was cute because he's like, Mom, I have these jitters. And I'm like, I know.
Oh.
I said, the good thing is that this isn't my first go round. Like, this isn't my first rodeo, baby. I know where I'm taking you. So you just get in the car and you trust me, and I'll get you where you need to go.
Right. Right.
And he had a great experience with his first day, but it's the jitters of the new. It's the jitters of getting out of your comfort zone.
I think that's most of what adventuring is getting out of
Yeah.
your comfort zone
Yeah.
and doing something creative and new. I think we need it. I think we
We
as
do.
human beings crave it and we need it. And I'm kind of like you, being the homebody type person. It's much easier and more comfortable to just stay where we're at. Traveling is not easy with kids. Trying new things is not easy, and it's comfortable. But
Right.
if we stay in comfortable too long, it becomes uncomfortable because we're not growing, and we were made to grow and progress. So
Yeah.
this
Well,
adventure,
I think too, you mentioned the word crave, that we crave it.
yeah,
I don't know that everyone does
possibly not.
until you put yourself in the position, and it's like
Right.
baby steps of getting out of your comfort zone for whatever it is that's new to you. And then another like toddler step for
Mhm.
um, another event, another
Yeah.
go round. And I think as we begin to take those bigger steps, then that feeling of craving might actually start to grow. It's like when you plant a seed,
Right.
if you just let it be, nothing's going to happen. And I think that what we're talking about with adventure and growth, it it's planting the seed and then doing the little daily acts of tending it
Right.
that then plant the seed in our mind of, yeah, let's go to Hong Kong, Alicia.
I'm glad you said that because before I became a health coach with you, I didn't realize that I needed a change. I needed an adventure. And that kind of kickstarted a lot of the other adventures that I've had and that we've had together and that our
Yeah.
families have had. So I think you planted one of those seeds for me. Look at you, little
Well,
gardener.
I guess so. And it does. Sometimes it takes, a person, somebody that we trust. Um, like I said, I'm not the traveler person, but I would go with my husband to a few different countries. And then I got to be a little more comfortable traveling. But um, yeah, I mean, and the thing is adventures, we're not just talking about the traveling.
Mm-mm.
When you said that I kickstarted you with the health coaching, I was thinking, well, that's what kind of kickstarted it for me, you know?
Yeah.
Because I think when we decided to make ourselves a priority, it actually gave some space in our brain for us to find things that would help us to grow.
Right. And I love that you mentioned, I mean, our adventures, we kickstarted each other's adventures, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that just confirms in my mind the fact that we need each other. We
We
need
do.
other sisters and friends in our lives and family to help us recognize when we need that kickstart. Maybe we don't even see it in ourselves, but we need each other. We need the connections that we have with each other, because sometimes that next adventure or that next step or that next seed isn't something we recognize, and it's something
Right.
that a sis can do for us.
Yes. We need a sis. We need lots of sisses.
We do.
But amongst the sisses, there's going to be one, and you're that one for me. And we talked about this recently, but I could call Alicia and say, hey, I'm going to go do this thing. Will you come with me? And not even 24 hours later, she calls me back and yes, let's do it. Now that's somebody who, whether or not she sees the vision, like just trusts and wants to go have some fun with her friends and is right on board. And I love that about you because I don't know, you think about things a lot and you ponder things a lot, and I am more less likely to think about things and just do. And I know that was really bad grammar right there, but I think I got the point across. But you need people in your life who have gifts and talents and are different than you, because that's what makes it fun and that's what grows us and
Mhm.
stretches us, is those wild hairs of, hey, you want to go do this? And the spontaneity of having the sis say, yeah, I'm on board, let's do it. So let's talk about our latest adventure, because this
Which
is for
one?
me what kind of sparked it for me. And then seeing your post with your kids hiking Squaw Peak and stuff,
Mhm.
I was like, oh, we are having daily adventures. But the latest one, you picked me up from the airport and you were driving me to go pick up my rental car. And you guys, I think, when were we in Arizona? In January?
February, I think.
Okay. So the beginning of this year, I said to Alicia, one day I want a convertible rental car. And in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, yeah, like down the road, one day, whatever. Well, just this past week, she picked me up from the airport and took me to my convertible rental car. And it was a blast.
It was so
And
fun.
Alicia says to me, she's like, Trio, this is such an adventure with you. Like, who would go rent a convertible that they find on the site and you're just right there to go try it and do it? And not a lot of people like do this, but you do.
Well, and to clarify too, this wasn't like, oh, I'm flying into the airport, let me just rent a car from the airport, the companies at the airport. She hunted this down and found it and rented it from an individual because she wanted this convertible, a certain specific type, and this is what she wanted. And that's what I love about you, Shreya. You're like, yeah, that adventure is going to happen. Let's just figure it out. You don't give up. You don't quit. You're like, yeah, we're going to do it. So yes, the convertible was way fun.
It was way fun. And I just have to say too, like the other side of that, so I was originally going to go rent the car from the airport, but there was this little nugget of a voice inside my head saying, what if you could find what you really want? And I'm like, no, I can't do that. And then it's like, remember that place you rented a car before? It turned out pretty okay. Go check that site out. And I'm like, no, they're not going to have that car we need. No way. And then I go and it's like, voila. Imagine the angels singing like in Grease 2 when they're doing the holiday dance, with whatever his name is. Like, that's what it was. I'm like, oh my word, there's the car.
Well, and we have to give a little preface too, because if you look at our podcast, the graphic that goes with it is a cute little pink convertible bug with balloons flying out the back. So when Trio came in, she was looking for a convertible bug, which is a little harder to find. And we wanted to recreate with the balloons in the back. So you guys, it didn't just end with the convertible bug. It was a convertible bug, and then we went and got the balloons and drove with the balloons. And we're literally living one of those surreal dreams where you think, oh, wouldn't it be fun if we got to do this one day? And then we literally just created it and it happened. And I think we were on cloud 9 for the whole day. We're like, we just did that.
For sure.
We did it. And it was.
I know. Great. And I remember saying to you, I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah.
And the reason that it's happening is because of you, sis. Because you're taking the time to listen to our podcast, to share it with all your friends and your family members, and to leave us a review. Those things help us. And as you do that, we are able to reach more women to lift and to rise together and really to lift another sis. And that's what this is about. We're talking about adventures today because each and every one of you have an adventure that you can have today or that you can plan for the future. Not every adventure is going to be grand and huge. Sometimes the adventure is planting a garden and watching it grow. And sometimes it's taking your kids to the swimming pool and watching them learn how to do a backflip or a really good dive. Like, those things are the adventures.
Yeah.
And so whatever your day looks like, we want you to recognize that ultimately you create your adventure. The car didn't just show up for us. Nobody parked it in our driveway and said, oh, here's your convertible bug, just like you were looking for. There actually had to be a vision of some sort on some scale and a belief to act upon, and then the actual doing and getting it done. So what that's saying is create your fun, create your adventure. And I just love that because even when we were out together, I spent a few days with my niece and we were being very spontaneous because she has a six-month-old baby. And we were going to go for a hike. And so we were riding up the mountain with our convertible top down, baby in the back. It's awesome. And we actually decided to go to another place to hike. And the adventure was just that. It was being with her, going on a hike that we hadn't done before, getting a little lost or just taking a little longer than we expected, and creating new memories. And it was perfect.
I love that. Go have an adventure today. Go make an adventure.
Go have an adventure. Yeah. Go make your adventure and win your day, sis.
You've got this, sis. We love you.
We love you.
Thanks for listening. We'd love to hear your thoughts or suggestions for future episodes. Visit us on Facebook or Instagram and be sure to share some of your own personal wins so we can celebrate along with you.
And don't forget to click on the 3 dots below to share this episode with a friend who's on your heart today. Go win your day, sis. We love you.